In this video, we'll learn how to create our own icons. Using what you will learn in this lesson, you will be able to create almost any kind of graphic elements with a bit of practice. Not only icons, but more complex shapes or illustrations if you need to. The one concept that took me a while to understand and that liberated me from the "I don't know how to draw, I'm not a trained designer" complex is that you can create almost any graphic representation by assembling simple shapes like squares, rectangles, circles, triangles, and by using a little bit of design software magic. So remember, all you need is to find inspiration and to have a good understanding of how to assemble shapes. We've talked about inspiration already, so don't wait for it to come out of nowhere. Look around and don't hesitate to copy others. That's the way it works. And as of your understanding of how to assemble shapes, let's get to it now. So zoom in and we'll start with the Home tab icon. Okay, so let's draw a rectangle. Hit the R key on your keyboard. We'll give it a width of 15 pixels and a height of 11 pixels, like this. We'll also need a triangle for the roof, but in order to be sure it's the right triangle, we will create it by modifying a square. So let's draw a square. Remember to hold Shift if you want to draw a square. We'll give it a width and a height of 15 pixels, like this. Now double click on it and you will see that the vector points appear when you do that. Select this one and delete it by pressing the backspace key. We now have a right triangle, and to complete the roof we'll create two other rectangles with a width of 17 pixels and a height of 3 pixels. Yep, good. Another one, but with the width and the height reversed, like this. Now select the rectangle we've just created and the roof, the triangle, and we'll align the two shapes on the left and on the top using the align tools over here. So select left and top, like this. We'll do the same thing with this rectangle, left and top. But before we put it on top of this rectangle, select these three shapes and we'll use a Boolean operation to combine the three in a single shape. The Boolean operations are over here. Click Union and see how they're now regrouped in a single shape in the left panel. As we saw earlier with the refresh icon, the Boolean operations are non-destructive. This means that you can still see, access and modify the three shapes by clicking the disclosure arrow over here and selecting the shapes inside. See how I can still move them or resize them if I want to, and they're still assembled in the same shape. And this little icon shows you which Boolean operation was used to assemble the different shapes. The layer list is ordered from bottom to top, and it's the same for the subpath in the shape. So the Boolean operation you pick will combine the layer, this layer with the layer below, and this layer with the layer below. These Boolean operations, these tools are very important, and let me show you quickly how each of them work before we move on. Let me just draw a rectangle and a circle. I'll select the two shapes and I'll click Union. So they're now merged in a single shape. If I change to subtract, it will subtract the first shape from the one below. If I click intersect, we'll only keep the intersection of the two shapes. And if I change to difference, it will remove the part where the two shapes are overlapping. Let's now get rid of these two shapes and continue working on our icon. Okay, we'll rotate this shape. this roof by clicking on the rotate tool in the toolbar. If you rotate it like this, it will rotate normally, but if you hold shift, it will rotate like this, and that's what we want to do. Okay, once you've done that, select the roof and make sure that you place it just on top of this rectangle. Let's now merge these two shapes. Click in union, yep. And we'll take care of the door. So let's draw a rectangle of 6 pixels by 6 pixels and a circle with a diameter of 6 pixels too. Okay, this is not good. Okay, we're good. Place the circle just on top of the other shape, so the diameter should be aligned with the top edge of the square, just like this, and merge these two shapes as well. Choose random color so that you can see it when we place it over the house, but just before we place it over the house, actually it might be better if we have a width of 5 pixels like this. Okay, select the door and the house and click subtract. Okay, we have our first icon. Let's position it on top of the selected tab, and we'll change the color to a gradient that goes from E8, E9, EA to 89093. We also try to add a shadow. This should be easy. Don't want it to be blurred, and we'll give it an opacity of like 50%. We also add a glow at the top with an inner shadow. So Y1, blur 1, and you know to do this now. White, 80% opacity, like this. Okay. Let's now take care of the next tab, the Explore tab. We'll start with a triangle. We'll give it a width of 8 pixels and a height of 13 pixels, like this. Select the shape, and we'll use a very handy tool to create copies of this shape and to rotate them. Go to Edit, Path, and Rotate Copies. You want 3 copies in order to have 4 triangles, so write 3 and click OK. Now make sure you can use this handle, but in order to be more precise, we'll switch to Pixel View by going to View, Show Pixels. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing. This view is pretty useful when you want to be very precise in your designs, which is often the case when designing icons. So we want these shapes to have a height of 30 pixels, and we have 2 triangles with a height of 13 pixels. That means we want 4 pixels between them. So drag the handle until you have a blank square, precise one, not like this, but a very precise blank square. You want to be at the limit of this, so not this, but a blank square like that. Let's zoom in again so we can see. Blank square of 4 pixel by 4 pixels, so not like this, not like this, but like that. So the handle should be at the intersection of these 4 pixels. See, this is not good. This is good. This is in order to be very precise. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit and click out, select the shape, make sure that you have a width and a height of 30 pixels. If it's not the case, well, if you have like 29.3 or 30.6 or something like that, change the width or the height to 30. Okay, we don't need that view anymore. Let's now select the shape and duplicate it. You can right click and select duplicate or copy paste. This new shape, we're going to rotate it holding shift so we can position it like this, and we're going to resize it and give it a width and a height of 22 pixels like this. Now select the two shapes and align in the middle and in the center so you can have a shape like this. Select the two shapes and merge them. Okay, we're almost done. All we need now is to have a nice hole in the middle, so we'll create a circle of 6 pixels by 6 pixels like this, and we'll change the color in order to be able to see the circle when we put it on top of the shape. Good. See how Sketch helps you position it. And I'll select the circle and the star shape and click subtract. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit and put this icon on top of the bar and on top of its tab. And now all we need to do is to select this icon, right click, copy style, this one, right click, paste style. Okay, now let's take care of the camera icon. Okay, let's start with the body of the camera. So a square of 26 by 26. We want rounded corners, so we'll change the radius to 3. And we'll draw another rectangle with a width of 20 pixels and a height of 12 pixels. We want rounded corners at the bottom but not at the top, so what we can do is select the shape, change the radius to 1, double click on the shape to edit it, select these corners and change to straight point over here, like this. Now let's change the color so we can see it when we place it on top of this shape. We gave it a width of 20 pixels so we can have a border of 3 pixels on the left side, the right side, and at the bottom. So make sure that it is 3 pixels away from the left side and obviously the right side, and from the bottom, just like this. When you're done, select the two shapes and click on the right Boolean operation. This one is subtract, but I just want to show you what you can do if you select the wrong one. Let's say we select union. We can go in the shape and select here the right operation, which is subtract. Okay. Now let's draw a circle of 16 pixels by 16 pixels. We'll change the color. Make sure it's well aligned. If you can't see with the red guides that Sketch provide, change the color. And I'll show you another way of using the Boolean operation. What we could do here is select this shape, and then select the right Boolean operation. What we can also do is drag this shape in the left panel inside this shape and change the Boolean operation. This time it will be union. Okay, I'll show you again with two other shapes. We want a circle with a diameter of 10 pixels. Place it here. Drag it on top of the other shape, and by default the Boolean would be union, but this time we want it to be subtract, like this. See how we kept the consistency of the border. We have a 3 pixels border over here, and same thing like this, because these circles, this circle has a diameter of 10 pixels and this one of 16 pixels. It's very important to be consistent in your designs. Last shape is a square of 5 pixels by 5 pixels with a radius of 1. Select it, change the color, place it 3 pixels away, consistency, from the top, and 3 pixels away from the right side. Okay, let's do it that way once again, and select subtract. Okay, we now have our camera shape. Place it where it belongs, like this. Let's copy the style and paste it. Let's now take care of the notification icon. Start by drawing a circle with a width of 27 pixels and a height of 24 pixels. Like this. Now double click the shape to enter the vector edit mode, which is characterized by the presence of the vector point. When you hover over the segments of the shape, your pointer changes and it allows you to add a vector point. Let's zoom in. We want to add a first point right in the middle of this segment. And in order to do that, we can hold the Command key and the point will automatically place itself in the middle of the segment, which is delimited by these 2 vector points. So we'll hold Command key and we can click just anywhere on the segment and it will create a vector point just at the middle. Now we'll do the same thing with this segment. Hold the Command key and click, and once again between these 2 vector points hold the Command key and click, like this. Now you want to place a vector point just below this one and one just above that one. I'll explain in a minute why. Then click on this point and move it with the arrow keys on your keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure the point is still selected and change the mode to straight point, like this. And do the same thing with this one. Be careful not to select the adjacent points, so you want the points inside these 2, and do the same thing. Select straight, like this. These 2 points, this one and this one, are useful because they allow us to keep the circle a circle. If we didn't have them, because we changed the point mode to straight for these 2 points, the circle would look like this. Okay? Let's now grab a heart to finish our icon. Go to thenonproject.com and look for heart. Okay. Choose an icon that you like. And I'm gonna select this one. Looks good. Download it. You must be logged in to download it, and don't forget to attribute the icons you used from the Thenon project to the creators in your designs. Then unzip it and open it with Sketch. Okay. Make sure you select the shape over here, copy it and paste it in your sketch file. We'll give it a width of 13 pixels. Make sure that you lock the proportion lock. And that's it. Place it on top of the bubble like this and subtract it. Okay, very good. There seems to be a little bug on my computer. I haven't restarted it for a long time, maybe it's the reason why. But it should be working on yours perfectly. You can continue adjusting a few things if you want, like, whatever you like. If you want it to be a bit bigger or a bit smaller. And finally we'll position it where it belongs, and copy paste style just like this. And finally we'll take care of our last icon, the profile icon. As usual, we'll start with a simple shape, a rectangle of 25 by 18. We'll give it a radius of 2. Yeah. We'll need another rectangle, the width of 8 pixels and a height of 10 pixels. That will be the picture on the icon. We'll center it, and this time we'll place it 4 pixels away from the left side. We need 3 other little rectangles with a width of 7 and a height of 2, like this. Change the color so you can see it when it's on top of this shape. Place it 4 pixels away from the right side. Copy paste it and align it with this shape at the bottom. And what we can do is copy paste it again, select these 3 and use the align option that's called distribute vertically. So you're sure that this one is right in the middle between this one and this one. Okay, let's select these rectangles, these 4, not the one behind, and click Union. So now we have 2 shapes, and we'll select these 2 shapes and select Subtract. Put it in place. And apply the style of the other icons. Okay, let's zoom out to see what it looks like. It looks pretty fine to me. To finish up, we'll rename these icons. Home, Explore, Camera, Notif, and Profile. We'll make sure that they're in the right folder. And that's it. In the next video, we'll add some content to this screen. See you soon.